they always want to talk about race, but let's talk about the health of our people. Let's talk about the food we're eating. Let's talk about the education system. Don't just talk about race so we continue to push a race baiting situation. We're not fighting a war on race no more. We're fighting a war on economics, and we're fighting a war on spirituality.
Stevie is in the building, and we got a jam-packed lineup for you. All right, Cam Newton's controversial comments about baseball being a dying sport. Then we're going to jump into LeBron James saying that he could continue playing for another 5 to 7 years, and whether or not that's a good idea for his legacy, and so much more. Stevie, what up, though?
Brother, I'm grateful. How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. Let's just go ahead and jump into it, man. They want to know. Cam Newton, man, has been, getting a lot of heat by speaking on this particular thing on his 4th and 1 podcast, saying baseball's a dying sport and predicting that the WNBA, driven by stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, could surpass baseball in popularity within 20 years. Now, what do you think about that prediction, though, Stevie?
I think it has some validity. If you look at how back in the day, this 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, baseball was America's sport. Then football took over. And then you see the popularity in the NBA. And then now, when you have Caitlin and Angel Reese, who are social, influencers outside of just their sport, I mean, listen, it's easier to see a person shoot a three-pointer and see a woman potentially get a dunk than sitting down and waiting a whole game to probably get a home run. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think it's just the excitement of the game, the fast pace of the game compared to baseball being a little bit more of a methodical type of sport.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love NBA's popularity and what they're doing and bringing light to the athleticism of some of these ladies is phenomenal when you really think about it. Yeah. And so it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I don't think baseball's it's no longer seemingly America's, sport the way it was historically. And these ladies are definitely bringing a lot of people through social media and a lot of other influencer type situations, just, drawing a lot more interest. What do you think it would take for the WNBA to actually, completely surpass baseball and really firmly plant its flag as that?
Well, when you increase the check, you increase the respect, bro. So, the bigger the check, the more they have to grow it, right? And I was going to mention that once they start paying these young ladies more money, then it's going to really be, a serious situation.
Okay.
And then when you think, and maybe when they start paying them money, the WNBA players, those women are going to have to be weary of jersey chasers at that point.
Yeah. Now,
think about that.
Wait.
Think about that.
Yeah, it could be something there, to that. What do you think about baseball? What would give baseball a spark, though? You know what I mean? Could baseball seemingly reclaim its spot? And, what do you think? What kind of spark would that take to actually do so?
I don't think baseball reclaims the spot over football or basketball. I just don't see it. I mean, that even when it got popular, when you had Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds battling it out for the home run titles, but then, it's like they got shot in the foot because the whole drug scandal, it just took they made it, they painted it, right? And so I don't see it growing that much popularity, even though the players make a lot of money and they have, guaranteed contracts, which is something that I love about baseball. Yeah. Maybe more young men, melanated young men should pick up a glove and a bat, and you get guaranteed contracts. Yeah. You can leverage your athleticism, and then you don't have to beat your head up. Like, of course you got to get worried about getting hit with a ball or pitch. Right. But I mean, come on, man. So yeah, maybe it will grow popularity when more melanated people start picking it up, because you got to also think about Dominicans, the Dominican Republic, the amount of Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, and then the Asian players that are, what I mean, a part of the sport now. And so I think that's taken a lot of that luster away.
Yeah.
From being an American.
It might be soccer, Stephen. Soccer might come in there. It might.
I just don't. The reason why I don't see soccer, especially in America, it's all cultural based, I think. Sure. And when you have America now having games in Europe, now you got to start saying, well, hold up. You know, the NFL is like, y'all not just going to come over here. We going to go over there too and tap into y'all market. And let's see who wins. Let's see if people like seeing people get hit at a fast rate rather than kicking the ball down the field. Like, I mean, it's just what it is.
Yeah, no doubt,
you know?
no doubt. Speaking of basketball, Stevie, I know, LeBron has been making the rounds, and of course, this story is been on everybody's minds. He's now 40. He's in his 22nd season in the NBA. He recently said that he could play another 5 to 7 years at a high level, although he clarified that he doesn't plan to do so. Now, Stevie, do you think LeBron is being realistic in making that statement?
Hey man, LeBron was born on December 30th. Men who born on December 30th, we can do what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not real talk.
Yeah.
That's my. We were born on the same day, man. Shout out to LeBron, but I will say this: with all the technology and the way it's been documented that he takes care of his temple, you can't tell him what he can't do. Because I know, like, the information I have on health and wellness now, had I had this same information, I would have been able to play longer than 10 years as well.
Yeah.
It's all about information.
Yeah.
Money is not power. Education is not power. Information is power. And when you get the information, you can exercise the power. Right. And he's been doing that. And so, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I don't know. Physically, he can probably do it. I think the hardest thing at that time is the mental. Like, if he can get over the mental drive of training camp and training, if that doesn't bother him, I mean, he could do it. He can definitely do it.
Okay.
He definitely do it. Do you see signs of him slowing down?
No.
Like you see other players?
Well, comparatively, I mean, I think LeBron is still like light years ahead of a lot of guys, obviously, right? Just, on a day-to-day. But I do think that over time, like you said, it's a grind. You know what I mean? And, although you do take care of your body, Father Time is undefeated, right? So, at the end of the day, I just think it has to be something he really wants to do. And perhaps there's some things, I think he would be better suited personally if he kind of stepped down and he focused on helping to develop his sons. If he left on top and he focused on developing them, I think that would probably be more fulfilling. Just my thoughts, you know what I'm saying? But
I see. I respect that angle. Yeah. I think you hit it on the head when you're talking about legacy and leaving on top. And do you want to diminish that by continuing to play?
Right.
Once again, the mind is the thing that he has to beat. He has to beat his mind, and if the mind controls the matter, then he's been showing that he can still put up stellar numbers in the league. So we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see if his word is his bond.
Right, and he's definitely one of the best to ever have done it, man. And speaking about legacy, man, as we reflect on 2024, it's been a tough year in terms of losing some legendary sports figures: Willie Mays, Pete Rose, Fernando Valenzuela, Jerry West, O.J. Simpson. Now, of course, these folks have all made significant contributions in the world of sports. Which loss in 2024 do you think had some of the most significant impact?
Man, now, for me, that's a tough question because I don't look at life and death like the average person. I know just as sure as we live, we're going to die. So I don't look at it like, it was a loss. I look at it as actually it's a game. We gain and glean information on how these people live their lives, good, bad, and indifferent. And you just take the meat and leave the bones, and you're able to grab something from all of them and all the things that they did great. And then the things that they did that were considered to be not so great or not be so great. So that will be my thing. I don't look at it as we lost. I look at it as we gained.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That said, let's jump into this fair foul segment, man. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is, brother. If you think it's fair, you know what I'm saying? You're going to state it, but if it's foul, you're going to tell me why, man. Stephen A. Smith, I think this is something that you can appreciate, Stevie. Now, he's in the midst of this $100+ million deal. And he called for the arrest of these 14 police officers involved in the death of that inmate, Robert Brooks, in New York. Do you think it's fair or foul? Should Stephen A. be utilizing his platform to tackle social justice issues? Or should he shut up and dribble, as they say, and focus on his platform?
I think it's foul because I don't think it's genuine. I think it's foul because I think the people who put him in a space, they always want to talk about race, but let's talk about the health of our people. Let's talk about the food we're eating. Let's talk about the education system. Don't just talk about race so we continue to push a race baiting situation. We're not fighting a war on race no more. We're fighting a war on economics, and we're fighting a war on spirituality. We're fighting classism. So it's like, I think it's foul because a lot of these pundits get on television and just start telling lies and visions that aren't real to keep people in a frenzy and in fear. So yeah, I think it's foul.
Okay. So he ain't being genuine, man. That's what we call it, right?
Genuine people are so rare. And when you run into it, you see it immediately because you don't see it all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's like a pandemic of genuineness going around, right? And so, yeah, bro, the disingenuine energy is something that just never resonates with me. Yeah. And let me say this, just because I disagree with you or him or anybody else on one thing doesn't mean we can't agree on anything, right? But on this one, all the way a foul.
Okay. Say less, brother. Anthony Edwards, man, $100 million. Well, no, not $100 million, $100,000 fine for profanity during his live interview. Now, this is his third fine in 3 weeks. Fair or foul? Is the NBA being too harsh on Edwards, or does he need to really tighten up, man? As one of the young new faces of the league.
A little bit of both. I can see where he can become more polished and recognize where he is and who he is, right? And when he does that, it'll even increase his game. It'll make his game better. But I think a lot of the times the criticism that we put on these young athletes not really recognizing that they're really still neophytes in the grand scheme of things, right? And so like when you really sit back and say, well, dang, how did you respond to things at 21, 22, 23 years young, right? I mean, I still have a time putting down my reactions and responding instead of reacting to things at my age. So that's one side of it, but the other side of it is to whom much is given, much is required. So you're here at a high level and a high status, so you have to recognize that heavy is the head and where's the crown.
Well, he's definitely at the forefront in the league right now. So, he might be kind of we watching the guy, we watching him grow up in front of our eyes right now. You know what I mean? He's clearly, what I'm saying?
And that's where the grace comes in. Even with Travis Hunter, the grace comes in is because we're saying these things to you, young brothers, because we want to make sure that you can be the best version of yourself, right? And that you don't make the same mistakes that we've made. And listen, they can take the meat and leave the bones as well, right? And they're gonna do that because there's so many paths to righteousness, bro.
Yeah, indeed, man.
Yeah.
Eric Dickerson, man, you know what I'm saying? Criticizing Saquon Barkley wanting to get his record, man. Now, Saquon became the 9th player in NFL history to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. He's about 100 yards away from breaking Eric Dickerson's record. Now, Eric Dickerson told USA Today, and I quote, "These people who say records are meant to be broken, you ain't got no record." Fair or foul for Dickerson to defend his legacy, or is it time to embrace Saquon's achievements, man?
I think it's a little. I want to say it's a little bit foul, but I also, like someone who holds some records, I understand him wanting to hold on to that. But I think that it's foul because when you really embrace the greatness of it, you're able to see, man. Yeah, he broke my record, but now my name is ringing bells again. You have to recognize me. But then on top of that, Eric Dickerson, all these guys can say, look, man, I did it in less games. Yeah. I did it in less games, man. So it's like you always have that over someone who will break your record with having some, breaking a season record, right? So I mean, I think they both win, man. Saquon can say he's done something, but Eric Dickerson can say, yeah, you did it, but you didn't do it in 16 games or however many games it was back then.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Bruh, Baggs, happy birthday, brother. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you always, and more life. Tell everybody how to keep up with you, dog.
Hey, listen, before we get out of here, thank you for that. Every day is my born day. That's how I look at life. But I want to ask you this. Lamar Jackson, this MVP race, who do you think is supposed to be winning his MVP? Right? I just want to hear your thoughts.
Listen, bro, for me, Lamar Jackson, bro. Listen, I mean, you know what Lamar. I mean, okay. I get it. You got some guys who are constants, but Lamar Jackson, to me, has proven himself to be just a difference maker. Every time he's on the field, he's redefining the position, and I think he's finally, I like what Ryan Clark said. He's the evolution of so many things. You know what I mean? You know, he spoke about Cam, he spoke about Mike Vick, he spoke about Randall Cunningham, and I think that I don't know. I'm probably biased. You know what I mean? Just because, but I see Lamar as being that guy, and I really hope that I don't know. I'm a hold out hope and say I'd like to see Lamar being running for that. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I mean Lamar, you almost have 1,000-yard rushing.
Yeah.
You almost have 4,000 yards passing, and you over 40 some odd touchdowns. And then. So here's my thing. I think a lot of people talking about being, biased because he's won it 2 times already. That okay. I can't go by that. But then the other thing they try to ding him on, and they say, well, he has more weapons. Well, if you look at the record, number one, the Ravens beat the Bills. They head up. The Ravens beat the Bills this year.
Yeah.
Right? Who outplayed who in that game? We just gonna ask that. But then on top of that, defense is a weapon.
Yeah.
When you talking about the Buffalo Bills having one of the best records in football, it's because they have a weapon called defense. Yeah. Defense helps win championship. It helps put the ball back in the offense's hand. And I don't think people understand that. Just like they try to knock Lamar on the playoff thing. Oh, he hasn't won in the playoffs. Well, I don't have to win in the playoffs when I got a first round bye. Yeah. See, that first round bye is like a playoff win. So now I'm already. So it's like, if they want to try to move the goalpost to show how well he's not doing and the things that he's not doing. I just think that, Josh Allen, Burrow, Saquon Barkley, they've all had notable years. But when you think about a person redefining the game, and every time he touches the field, I mean, I'm not just talking about the most valuable player on my team. I'm talking about the most valuable player in the league. Yeah. See, that's the difference too. He's the most valuable on his team. No, forget your team. Let's talk about who's the most valuable in the league.
In the league. Now, I think he's redefined the position. Again, we've been waiting on this day a long time just to see a brother who can put all those skills together and really, play a complete game. You know what I mean? And I think he's complete, right? He can do it all. I mean, listen, I was watching Jaden Daniels. He was looking like he had those flashes as well for Washington. So, what I'm saying is if this is the evolution of that position and these black quarterbacks are now starting to be able to show like, I can run, I can cut, I can throw. And he was making the throws. It was refreshing.
Standard. It's a standard. Yeah, it's a standard that's been set. It's a new precedent. Yeah. And that's why they're going after these young guys that can do everything. Yeah. Even especially from the cerebral perspective, right? Because we know that's what the game is. I'm a little biased. I'm from Pompano, so that's Lamar Jackson's home team. So I understand that. But I just wanted to ask you that also. Yeah, man. People, y'all can find me, follow me, Stevie Baggs Jr. on everything: Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. Let's go.
Thank you, Stevie.
Yes, sir.
Bless up.